Welcome back to the Bitcoin digital course. My name is Ryan Matta. This is lesson 6. And in today's lesson, we're just going to talk about Mempool.Space. This is how you actually track Bitcoin transactions. And this is going to give you a really good idea of what the Bitcoin blockchain is and how a blockchain actually works. So I want to jump right into it. When we talk about a blockchain, all a blockchain is it's a mutable record of data. And the only data that's in that block is just transactions. Think of it like an Excel spreadsheet that updates every 10 minutes. And every 10 minutes, it redetermines exactly where every single Bitcoin has been spent since the beginning of time. Now, since you are doing it block by block, when the first block is mined, let's say this is block number 1, and the next block is getting filled up. Once this block moves over and it is mined, because you've already understood at this point in time where every single Bitcoin was, you don't have to redo all that math. You just need to determine in that new block what Bitcoin has moved from what address. And these blocks are connected together with what's called a cryptographic hash. And what that means is that once this block is mined, there's basically a screenshot of this block taken. Like for example, as if I took a screenshot on my computer right now, and I took this screenshot. This photo, we could take this photo and we could input it into the SHA-256 algorithm. So I believe if I can pull that up here really quick for you, and I'll show you what I mean. So right here, you can put in any number and you can hit generate, and it's going to generate you this hash right here. So what you can also do is you can also load a photo, an image, right? And what that image is going to do, if I grab back up this image over here, if I loaded this image into the SHA-256 algorithm, it is going to determine every single little pixel on this image. And if any one of those pixels changes, if a hair on my head changes, that hash would be different, right? Because the hash is taking every input of every pixel and it's running them through a computer that analyzes every single little pixel. If one of those pixels changes, it would change the value of the input. So let me jump back over here and show you what I mean. When I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, and I hit generate, it is going to generate this hash that ends in F4 and it starts with 0, 3. So 0, 3 and F4. Now, if I go 4, 3, 2, 1, remember F4 and 0, 3. You see how it says C3 and FE different, right? Now, if I come back over here and I put in 1, 2, 3, 4 and I hit generate, it's going to put you F4 and 0, 3. So you can see it's the exact same value. So if I were to scan this image into this SHA-256 algorithm and one pixel changes, meaning I could not, no matter how hard I tried, if I wanted to right now, I could not take the exact same screenshot twice. It's like having the same snowflake. You're never going to find the exact same identical snowflake ever. So what that means is that when we talk about a blockchain, right, when you are taking basically a screenshot of every transaction that was in this block, if one of those transactions changes, it would break the hash. So that is how you guarantee that these blockchains are immutable, because this block right here has a hash of the previous block. So the first transaction that goes into the newest block is the hash from the previous block. So if anything changed in that block, it would change that hash. It would break the chain, theoretically. So that's just kind of giving you guys an idea. Now, if you think of a blockchain, I want you guys to think of it like this. And I'm going to have more videos once my next whiteboard comes and we can actually draw these things out. But just so you guys can visualize it, right? A blockchain, think of it just like a hard drive. So I would need 2 things. Okay, here we can use these. So think of these like a blockchain, right? So in this block, all that I'm fitting in this block, and let's say this block or this hard drive can store, let's just say 1 gig of data. And let's say every transaction is 1 megabit. And there's 1,000 megabits in 1 gigabit. So that means that if one transaction, me sending you 1 Bitcoin is 1 megabit, that means that our block could only hold 1,000 transactions. So in every block, it's just transactions. So you just literally have a blockchain of it's just like a hard drive. And if every 10 minutes, you would get a new folder in your hard drive and a new folder and a new folder. So think of blocks like folders, and every 10 minutes, there's a new folder. But the previous folder is connected to the other folder via a hash. So now if we jump back over here to this website, and you can see in each one of these squares here represents a Bitcoin transaction. Let me try to click one of these little tiny dots and see if we can get just a single transaction. There's multiple transactions. So a lot of people are putting 2 or 3 transactions into one. There's one address input where that one address put in 0.03, and then they divided that that 0.03 and you see 0.036 and 0.001. So this amount of Bitcoin was divided up and sent to these two addresses. And you can tell a lot of different things. You can see how big of the virtual size of the transaction. So they say it VB, which is very similar to kilobits or bits, right? So there's the Bitcoin block size. If we talk about the total size of the Bitcoin block, it's supposed to be roughly 1 megabit in size. So if you just say every transaction is 1 kilobit, then you could fit, 1,000 or 10,000 transactions into every Bitcoin. But what you'll see is some of these are much larger transactions. And like this one, for example, you have one address and you have all of these outputs. So if we take a look, we can see the total number of outputs somewhere in this block, which is these are all of the outputs, all of the addresses that receive Bitcoin from this one transaction. So this is most likely something coming from the Lightning Network. And you can see all of those transactions that were sent. That's a lot of details, guys. And you can see how it looks right here. And this was the fee that they paid. And these were all of the transactions. And it goes all the way down to what looks like 53 transactions. So here's your transaction ID. You can see the amount of Bitcoin that they moved. And then you can see how much Bitcoin was distributed to each address here. And it's small amounts. So this 0.1 Bitcoin right here was divided up and sent to what looks like 53 different addresses. Now, at any point in time, you can also, I believe, take the transaction hash. So if we go back to, let's say we go to the Coinbase Pro Exchange, and we go down to our transactions. This is one in a previous video. We had sent some Bitcoin. If we come right here and we can see this address, right? I can copy that to my clipboard. I can now go back over to here on the Bitcoin Block Explorer, and I can actually search for that transaction. And you can see right here, that exact transaction. So that transaction was Coinbase, right? Coinbase was where I withdrew the money from. And then what Coinbase did, they took all of the transactions, all the people like myself that wanted to withdraw our Bitcoin at that exact point in time, and they put us all into a group and they outputted one transaction. So they said, hey, we want to take this 0.1 or 1.9 Bitcoin, which is probably roughly $180,000 at the time. And then we want to distribute that up to all of these addresses. Now, one of these addresses is my address. So let's go back over and actually let's try to figure out if we can find our address. So view on Block Explorer. So I'm looking for the address that we sent that Bitcoin to. And I don't know if we're going to find, oh yeah, we can go right into our notepad and we'll search our travel wallet, which remember when we remembered how we were going to put our Bitcoin in here, which is our travel wallet. So our wallet address is BC1, but the last few digits that we're looking for are NDDK. So what that means is we should be able to go back over here and we should be able to look for NDDK and we should be able to find my address right here. Boom, right there. See it right here? How cool is that, guys? Right here. NDDK. That's my Bitcoin address, which we can confirm. I'll bring it back over on screen in case somebody thinks I'm crazy. Right here, NDDK. I can probably make that a little bit bigger for you guys. Make it a title. There you guys go. Now you can see where it says NDDK right there. And then you see it over here. So my percentage of that Bitcoin was just $25. And you can kind of see it's 0.000257771. So what that means right there is those are actually Satoshis. And maybe you guys couldn't see it, but that's NDDK right there is our address. You can see the amount of Bitcoin that we withdrew. And that's a really unique feature. Now you can also take my address, right? So if we go back over to here and we copy our entire Bitcoin travel wallet address, we should be able to search up here and you can see my address, which is right here. And it shows you, this is the confirmed balance. That's the only amount of Bitcoin that's actually in my wallet right now, which is $24.19. And you can see the total that we received right here was 0.000257771. Pretty interesting concept. So now you can also go over here and they have Signet, they have Testnet 3, Testnet 4. You can take a look over here. You can see different things. You can talk about two requests pending, max bid, total V size, which is the block size or the kilobyte size, I believe. You have 344 requests, which are accelerated. You have total bid boost, which is $434. Not sure what that means. This is shit's all above my pay grade. Let's see what else we got over here. We got this little hammer feature, which I'm not really sure. So the next halving, which is really nice. So we talk about there's a Bitcoin halving every 4 years, meaning the amount of block rewards that are being paid out to the miners will be cut in half. So right now a miner is getting 3.25 Bitcoin. So the next halving, they'll end up with like, what is that? Like 1.625 Bitcoin or 1.6 Bitcoin, give or take, every time a block is mined and the miners are rewarded. You can see the difficulty on the network. So this means how many miners are actually out there mining. The more miners, the higher the difficulty is, because you don't want, you want the average amount of time that it takes your miner to mine a block to be 10 minutes. And that is why you have a difficulty level. Now, every 2 weeks, in about 6 days and 877 blocks, the Bitcoin algorithm is going to recalculate how difficult it is to mine a block. And if we go back to the main page over here, we're actually able to see how long it takes to mine a block and the actual difficulty level. So the average block time is what I was looking for right here. It's just 9.9 minutes. So if it's under 10 minutes, then they might adjust the difficulty so that it's harder for the miners to mine the blocks. Now, if all of a sudden, like let's say a big mining farm shuts down and the average time that it takes to mine a block goes up to 11 or 12 minutes, well, then they might make it less difficult to mine blocks. But the idea is that they want to keep it on average at 10 minutes, and the algorithm automatically does that for itself. And you can take a look at the average block fees. So for all the transactions in a block right now, you're looking at about $7,080 that miners are paid. The miner rewards right now are roughly $43 million, according to this this calculator right here. So I mean, the amount being paid to miners in the past 144 blocks. So that's between the last 144 blocks. So your average block is probably what, like 300,000. I think they're getting 3.25 Bitcoin, give or take. The average transaction fee is $3.46. And this average fee is on the last 144 blocks. But you've seen our transaction, we paid 52 cents for that fee, which is probably one of the lowest fees I've paid in a very long time. So I'm happy with it. The Bitcoin network doesn't seem to be as active as it has been in the past. So you can see the hash rate, which is equivalent to how many miners are actually mining. This shows you on a global scale, literally just how much energy is being consumed by these miners. The higher the equihash, the more miners there are out there mining. And you can see these little hash ribbons in these difficulty levels. And you can correlate these there's a lot of correlation between the difficulty and the value of Bitcoin. And then you can see that these are the different mining pools that are out there mining Bitcoin. And you can see other, which is probably just like your solo miners. Like this guy could be, if this guy solved the block, he would be considered as an other. And these are all the different mining pools. And you can see what's kind of dangerous here is that you have two pools, Ant Pool, and you have the Foundry Pool, who actually make up over 50% of they are the team that is winning 50% of the block rewards, or more than 50%, which is kind of scary that you have two companies that are controlling 50% of the hash power, or at the least they're receiving a majority of the rewards. And you can see how many blocks that they've solved. 329. The average health is 99.8%. And then this one is 98.6%. The average block fees. And then up next, we have the Lightning Network, right? Which is really, really cool. So you can see the amount of basically the Lightning Network over here in 2023. I don't know what happened there. Something happened here in the Lightning Network. And these are the amount of channels that are open and the capacity. Meaning like right now in the Bitcoin, on the Lightning Network, there's roughly what looks like 5,250 Bitcoin. So we'll talk a little bit about Lightning, but Lightning's kind of still above my head. But basically, Bitcoin has a input and output, the UTXO model, which basically means when you send a Bitcoin, it sends you it sends more than it needs to, and then it sends back you the balance, right? So you send a piece and then you get back the remaining piece. It's basically like your change. And that's when that transaction is complete. But I can basically start initiating a transaction. And then once that transaction is initiated, if I don't close out that transaction, that you can open up that channel. So let's say I do it for a full Bitcoin. That means that I can open up a channel on the Lightning Network and I can allow people to basically, like, I sent 1 Bitcoin, but I didn't confirm it. So I open this channel for the amount of 1 Bitcoin. And then if you want to send 0.00001 Bitcoin, you can do that through my channel. And it's basically like you're writing me an IOU that's guaranteed to come to me. So I take that and I basically put it onto my tab. It's like if you go to the bar and you say you want to prepay for $100 worth of drinks. You go to a bar, you prepay for your drinks, and the bartender just comes and hands you drinks. She just writes it down on her tab. Yep, I owe you, I owe you, I owe you. And at the end of the night, when I'm ready to close out the tab, I just go, okay, what do I owe you? And she's like, oh, 10, 12, 13, 14 drinks. All right, you owe me 95 bucks or you owe me 80 bucks. I'm like, all right, cool. 80 bucks for me, $20 for a tip. We're squared away. The Lightning Network works kind of in the same way. And what that does is it's built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, which means you're not paying the Bitcoin miner fees. You're just paying a small percentage, like a really tiny fee, to use that person's channel. Now, whoever opens up the Lightning channel determines what those fees are. They can set them crazy high, they can set them crazy low. Now, if you set them too high, nobody's going to use your channel, they'll just go to somebody else's. But if you're a bigger player, and let's say you got 2 or 3 Bitcoin on there, and you open up a channel for, say, $300,000, you might be one of the only channels on the Lightning Network that has the ability to transfer around, $100,000 or $200,000 worth of wealth, where the average person that's running a Lightning node and in processing transactions on the Lightning Network is probably only making a couple bucks a day. But some players make a lot of money, like thousands and thousands of dollars. They have made a living off processing transactions in the Lightning Network. So the Lightning Network is what you'll see when you go into a gas station and you go to pay for something with Bitcoin. You're going to pay for it with Lightning Bitcoin because it's instantaneous. When I go into a restaurant in El Salvador to pay for my food and I'm paying for Bitcoin, that's how I'm doing it. So just kind of give you guys an idea of how this network works. There's Bitcoin and there's Lightning Bitcoin. We're going to need to do an entire special on the Lightning Network. And I think next time when I go to El Salvador, I'm going to head back down to the Bitcoin hardware store, and I'm going to sit down with their team, and we're going to go over step by step how to set up these nodes. We're going to go over all of the equipment that I didn't fully understand, because I really want Jamie and the people over at the Bitcoin hardware store to really educate you guys, because they have so much more knowledge. And it'll be great because I'll get that one-on-one training with you. So we'll kind of walk through all of this stuff that I'm kind of just giving you enough to kind of get your head in the game and understand how Bitcoin is operating. Again, once I get my whiteboard and we can actually start drawing on things and I can walk you guys through it. The problem is I bought one here and it's not good. It's outdated. I don't understand how it works. It doesn't have any directions. And there was no one YouTube video. You're a company and you're making touchscreen monitors, and you're one of the only touchscreen monitors that's supposedly compatible with Mac, and you don't have one tutorial on it. So I plan to be building out this course. I plan to have it all set up on the touchscreen. I've created everything, PowerPoint presentations, the whole 9 yards, and I can't use it because I can't teach it because I don't have the screen. So I apologize for these courses right now, but I just wanted to get you something, because Bitcoin is one of those things where, like, no matter how much I try to educate you, it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to be enough. So I wanted to do something special for you and get you guys something out, and just to give you guys enough of an idea of how to go and buy Bitcoin, how to take it off an exchange, what to do with it, how to buy, sell, trade it. And most importantly is getting it into a wallet where you control those private keys too. So far we've taught you enough to, at the very least, understand how to buy Bitcoin, get it into a wallet where you control the keys. And then from there, your journey begins. And every day you're going to learn more. I'm working on getting a playlist together for you guys. So you guys are going to have a full step-by-step, basically homework every night. And then again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to re-record this course once I get my new screens in here. We can actually do it the right way. So God bless each and every one of you guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Mempool.Space, there's so many great videos out there that'll teach you about Mempool.Space. This is one of the things that I strongly recommend, that you spend some time and understand what Mempool.Space is, or at the very least, everything that I explained in here in this video to you, it's been enough to get me by. So if you at least get the basic understanding of how a blockchain works and you realize that it's just numbers, it's just an Excel spreadsheet, they're just like hard drives, you're going to be a lot better off. So God bless each and every one of you. Again, you guys can support our work by subscribing and becoming a paid member over on X. That is the only way that we are keeping ourselves funded. We don't want any sponsors. We don't want to have to be affiliated with any of these schmucks that we don't want. We like our affiliates that we got. We got BYBIT and COINBASE. If you're outside of the USA, obviously BYBIT's my jam. It's the only exchange I use, which is going to teach you guys when we start setting up these bots, which will be coming in a couple episodes. We might actually do that next. honestly, we might just get that one out there and get it up and running. But in order to do that, I need to remake my exchange fee videos. I need to make sure that I'm giving you guys the right information, because the last time I made that, blah, 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 blah. I talk too much. God bless you guys. We out. Peace.